Welcome into a Friday edition of the Farzy Show. I hope everyone's doing fantastic today. Hope you guys have a beautiful weekend, and I hope you enjoyed the Flyers winning last night over the New Jersey Devils, even though there was a lot of shorthanded goal and a two-man advantage in the second period, but Carter Hart was amazing. Sixers are on the hardwood tonight against the Steph Curry-less Warriors. Don't get to see him. You know, my father-in-law loves taking pictures. He was a battlefield photographer in Vietnam, and he loves going to sporting events and taking pictures. He'll show me like pictures he has of Mickey Mantle and stuff like that. He showed me his Vietnam album. It's very real. And now he absolutely loves working his way into sporting events, working his way close to the action and taking pictures. And he called me a little while ago. He said, I want to go to that Steph Curry game. And I said, oh, that'd be great if we can make that happen. We ended up not making it happen. Mostly my fault because we're moving. So a little busy with everything. And then, of course, if we would have gotten those tickets, no pictures of Steph Curry. Wah, wah. And the Eagles play the Bears. I know some people think they play the Cowboys this weekend because of all the cowboy mumbo jumbo that's been going on this week, but not the case. Oh, and also the Bears suck. So the Eagles are just looked at as if they're going to win, and people are already looking ahead to the Cowboys already. And hopefully the Eagles aren't doing that, and I don't think they are because, as I've said many times, I love this team for its laser focusedness. For its amazing laser focusedness when it comes to concentrating on what the task at hand is. Other people might call that concentration, but, that's boring. So let's start it off today with a little Tyrese Maxey news before we get into anything with the Philadelphia Eagles, because I want to make sure we just get this in here, and then we'll dissect the Eagles. Marshall Harris will join us coming up in a little bit. Our old friend, Marshall Harris from NBC Sports Philadelphia, now CBS Chicago, breaking it all down. Our friend Clay Harbor was on with us 2 days ago. And one of the things yesterday, Clay, one of the things he broke down for us was the podcast that he does with Marshall Harris entitled Bare Minimum. Phenomenal name. We'll go over one of my other favorite names for a Marshall Harris podcast coming up in just a second. But we'll get even more of a Bears breakdown with CBS Chicago's Marshall Harris. And naturally, I would also ask Marshall Harris about Joel Embiid's most recent comments about they want to trade me. So we'll see how that goes. So look forward to talking to Marshall Harris coming up in just a second on the show. But I know some people are worried about Tyrese Maxey, and rightfully so. Doc Rivers pretty much doom and gloom. So here's how it works out. He suffers that small foot fracture a little less than a month ago. They say 3 to 4 weeks he could be back. Okay, everyone's got their fingers crossed. Well, today marks 4 weeks since the injury. And Tyrese Maxey has only been spotted at practice, which gave some people, including myself, a little bit of hope that he would be there right around that 4-week mark. And then Doc Rivers addressed the media yesterday, and he was asked for an update. And I don't know if I've ever heard a more vague yet pessimistic injury update ever. Here's Doc Rivers when he was asked about Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, he's nowhere near what we thought. So whatever he has to do, he's nowhere near it. So I would say he's out at least, at least a couple more weeks. And I'm making that up, but I can't imagine him playing anytime in the next couple weeks.
So what was he able to do?
Nothing is the answer. I mean, he can shoot. He can run straight line, but that's it. So we're just going to be patient.
Sorry about that. He's not sprinting or anything yet.
He can sprint straight. He just can't cut, or he can't stop. So, it'd make it better in 3 days and, 5 or 6 days. But I don't see that happening is what I'm saying. This is an uneducated guess, but I just can't imagine him playing anytime soon.
All right, so here's the bottom line. Tyrese Maxey most likely not returning to the Sixers, not returning to play anytime soon. That's the bottom line. That's what we should all get out of this. Now let's just look at our friend Duck Rivers for a second, okay? And I know how you guys in the comments like to refer to him as Duck Rivers, and I don't really blame you for that. But let's look at this. What can he do? Nothing. Okay. What is he going to do back? I don't know. That's an educated guess. Some time from now. Thanks. But what can he do? Nothing. Well, I mean, he can shoot, and he can run, he can sprint, but he can't go side to side. Is that lateral movement? He doesn't have any lateral movement yet, so he can shoot, he can run. He can't move side to side. Is that what we're calling it? Is linear, lateral? Yeah, lateral movement. He can't move side to side. It was so doom and gloom, but then not as doom and gloom, but then doom and gloom because simply the fact is he's not returning to the Sixers in the very near future. Like tonight against the Golden State Warriors, who are in town, and the Sixers go for their 4th straight win. So it wasn't as bad, and it was as bad. And this is the head coach of the team, right? But he's not a doctor, despite the obvious pun there. Not a doctor. Doesn't expect Tyrese Maxey back anytime soon. Can do nothing except he can shoot and he can sprint and he can run. Okay, so that's nice. But lateral movement is still very much an issue for Tyrese Maxey. I do. Let me just say I miss watching the guy play. I miss that little spark plug coming off the bench or giving that energy to the team. Obviously, as a starter. But later in games when he comes off that bench, it's a totally different thing. I don't really appreciate it until I see him come off that bench. And it's like, oh, this guy's still got a whole bundle of energy left in him. That's what I love. In the starting 5, which he has earned and he's been great in, still enjoy, still love, but the guy plays at a different pace than everybody else on the team. He is in all systems go all the time. And it's most noticeable for me when he gets subbed back into a game. I love that because it's like, oh, this guy. It's fantastic. So hopefully a speedy recovery for Tyrese Maxey in the not-too-distant future for the 76ers. What can he do? Nothing. Oh, he can shoot. He can run. He can sprint, actually. Just no lateral movement. That's your boy. That's your boy, people. That's your boy. Duck Rivers. Excuse me. All right, now let's get into the Eagles-Bears ahead of this game. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Eagles taking on a team like the Chicago Bears that are 3-10 on the season. They have lost 6 in a row, but oh no, they're coming off their bye week. That's one of the arguments I've heard from people saying, oh, the Eagles are going to lose this game because the Bears are coming off their bye, and the Eagles are looking ahead to the Cowboys. Okay. All right, that's a not exactly a firm argument there, but the Bears are going to be fresh. If your team is selling off pieces, if your team is, let's say, missing your leading receiver who's been placed on IR, which they are, the Chicago Bears missing their leading receiver. If your team on defense had a guy only play 7 games for you and you're going into week 15 and he was still your leading tackler going into your last football game, that's not a good sign. If you're selling off pieces to your team for the future, then that means right now that ain't so good. Not even a little bit. Justin Fields, all the respect in the world too. All the respect in the world. But as far as the schedule, dare I invoke another Doc Rivers phrase here, is there a scheduled loss here? Could be. But I still see the Eagles winning this game. Now, the people that talk about the bye week, okay, you're talking about a fresh team. That's fine. It's not like the Eagles have had some kind of grueling schedule most recently. They just played against the Giants. They were a bus ride away from their homes. So not too shabby. And even if your team is drivel, even if your team is terrible, then you're a well-rested terrible. So I don't give a damn about anything about a bye week. And I sure as hell don't give a damn about anything regarding the Dallas Cowboys this week. I know everybody wanted to bang pots and pans and say, over here, Cowboys, look ahead for the Bears, look to the Cowboys. And I know we did a lot of that this week, thanks to Micah Parsons and his comments. But I have this feeling that the Eagles do not have that gene. I know people want to talk about trap games. I know they want to talk about letdown games. And this is right now the perfect mixture for everything coming together to equal a trap game or equal a letdown game. Yes, by definition, the way you look at a game going into it, this certainly checks those boxes. But man, I don't think this team has it in them. I don't think they looked past the Washington Commanders when they lost to them. I don't think they looked past the Indianapolis Colts when they just barely beat them. I don't think they looked past the Arizona Cardinals when they just barely beat them. I don't think they were looking past the Jacksonville Jaguars when they were down 14 points to them. I think they were just making mistakes. I think they lacked fluidity to their offense, and I don't think it was a matter of a lack of focus. I just think for whatever reason, they didn't have it for either those quarters or that game. that they had against the Commanders, which we'll all go back to. It doesn't matter to me the schedule. It doesn't matter to me who's on the schedule next. I don't think the Eagles are even there. And if anything I learned from the Micah Parsons incident, it's that this team is laser focused on the Chicago Bears. They didn't get drawn into it. I mean, Jordan Mailata said the most about it, and all he said was, I don't give a bleep who they're playing next in terms of the Cowboys. We're playing the Bears, not the Chicago Micah Parsons is. That's who we're playing. So to break it down, I just think this team is super focused, and I don't think the trap game or the letdown game really applies to them. If they lose this game, it's going to be because guys aren't secure. It's going to be for two reasons. One, guys aren't securing the football. They're turning the football over. Jalen Hurts has uncharacteristic interceptions in this game, and you're putting the ball on the ground. That's how you're going to lose this game. The other way you're going to lose this game is if Justin Fields just keeps extending drives with the run game, and he can very well do that. So I don't look at this game and say, oh, impossible that the Eagles lose this game. But when I look at this game and I say, oh, okay, if they do lose it, here's why they're going to lose it. It's not going to be because of a trap game. It's not going to be because the Cowboys are next on the schedule. It's going to be because the Eagles are fumbling the football. The Eagles are given self-inflicted wounds, and the Eagles are unable defensively to get off the field on third down. That's how they're going to lose this game. Because if you're the Bears, you're going to be using pretty much your only weapon right now. Pretty much your only weapon. That's Justin Fields. So you're going to get in those 3rd and 6. You're going to get in 3rd and 7 situations. You might even get in 4th and 3 situations and still decide, I'm going to go for it here. And Justin Fields is going to drop back. He's going to survey the field, and then he's going to take off, and he's going to get that first down. That is going to have us banging our heads against the wall, people. And that's what's going to make us go, okay, this is no bueno here. This is not good for us. So that's the two ways I think they lose it. The one, they turn the football over, which is a killer no matter what. The other is defensively, they just extend. They allow the Chicago Bears to extend drive after extended drive after extended drive. So that's how I think the Eagles lose this game if they lose this game. They're not going to lose this game. Justin Fields is not going to beat you 1-11. That's not going to happen. He might be frustrating. He might lead to points. I don't think the Eagles, defensively speaking, in this game are going to be great by any means. I think they're going to be good enough to win. Good enough to win. I still see the Bears putting up 20 points, at least 20 points on this Eagles defense, simply because of Justin Jefferson. He will get you points, but this Bears defense is where they lose the game. You are talking about a Bears defense right now that is abysmal. Passing, rushing, everything. The Eagles can exploit their weaknesses on defense. And you're talking about right now a run defense that allows almost 5 yards per carry to running backs. You're talking about a defense that allows wide receivers. Oh, and who are the Eagles wide receivers? They got some pretty good wide receivers. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They have 100 passer rating when defending against wide receivers. That is terrible. If you're an opposing quarterback and you're throwing to your wide receivers against the Chicago Bears, you have a 100 passer rating. Not a good starting point for this Chicago Bears secondary. Not good at all. The one thing that you can look at right now when it comes to their run defense is how they protect against the quarterback. So Jalen Hurts obviously can rip off runs left and right, doing a phenomenal job this year and has done that really throughout his career in the NFL, being able to rip off big runs, and that's great. The Bears got great outside contain. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. They only limit quarterbacks. They limit quarterbacks to 3.8 yards per carry. They're not playing Jalen Hurts every single week. That's one thing that is definitely a feather in the cap of the Eagles, is that, yes, in practice, just like the Eagles practice against Jalen Hurts, the Chicago Bears defense practices against Justin Fields. So they have a little bit of experience in being able to cover a guy who is going to be escaping the pocket and going to run for big gains and going to run for first downs. So that's something that definitely is going to be it's going to have my attention this week. But defensively speaking, if you want Jalen Hurts to drop back in the pocket and be comfortable, he is not going to be under some kind of duress each and every snap. You are talking about a team that can't get home to the quarterback. You are talking about a team in the Chicago Bears that are one of the worst teams in the NFL in terms of sacks. They do not finish the play. They do not bring down the opposing quarterback. This is a team that right now, their leading sacker, I had to double check this because I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Their leading sacker right now is their safety. You know who it is, Penn State fans? Oh, Penn State all the time. Jaquan Brisker is their leading sacker out of Penn State, the rookie second-round pick. I actually had my eye on him for the Eagles in that second round. But 3 sacks on the season. He is their leading sacker with 3. The Eagles have 6. They have one. The Eagles have 6 guys with at least 3 sacks on the season. Milton Williams has 3 sacks on the season, people. You see what I'm saying here? Oh, they're going to get after Jalen Hurts. That's how you stop him. All right, good luck. All right, so what's Jalen Hurts going to throw? Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. I talked about the 100 passer rating that they have in defense against wide receivers, okay? Jalen Hurts is the leading passer in the NFL right now. So I really hope that people aren't too late to the party where they realize that Jalen Hurts is not Justin Fields. There are comparisons there. I know Marshall Harris is going to get into that, comparisons between Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts is that next level. He is the MVP of the NFL right now. Odds-on favorite right now to win the MVP award. Another thing is, I talked about depletion, how the Chicago Bears are depleted. And even if they're well-rested, they're still well-rested Drek. That's them as a team this year. So I'm glad they're going to be a fresh kind of terrible. All right. I mentioned Roquan Smith no longer being there. Darnell Mooney no longer being there because he's on IR. One other guy that I wanted to mention here is Cole Kmet. I'm never sure if I'm saying his name right, but he's their tight end. He had a nice little stretch there where he had 4 touchdowns in 2 games about a month ago. So good for him. Yes, coming off their bye week as well. Has not scored a touchdown in their last 3 games, but he's a 6'6" tight end that definitely knows how to get open in the red zone. And when Justin Fields is scrambling around, either trying to buy time or we're getting ready to break one, the guy I'm going to have my eye on the most in the red zone is Cole Kmet. That's the guy that I think can really hurt the Eagles in the red zone. He's not phenomenal. He's not super talented. He's a big body guy that is a great, in case of emergency, break glass type of guy in the red zone. So that's somebody that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. And I'm sure, at least I'll hope, Jonathan Gannon is doing the same thing this week. Now, David Montgomery, versatile back, can run, can catch. We all know David Montgomery's been doing a great job in his career. Definitely a guy who could threaten you on offense. But I really do think that if the Bears are going to win this game, it is without question going to be the Justin Fields show, which is exactly how they have even been in these games. And that's another thing to bring up when it comes to the Chicago Bears team. They have been in close games. Jalen Hurts talked about it. Jordan Mailata talked about it this week. And I looked at their schedule, and what did you know it? There's at least 6 or 7 games this year where, other than the ones they won, of course, it came down to the final couple minutes of the fourth quarter where they're 1 score away from either going to overtime or winning that football game. So that shows to me first off, a inexperienced team. It also shows it's a team that doesn't know how to put teams away. Jordan Mailata also talked about that earlier in the week, talking about how this is a Bears team that just doesn't know how to get over that hump. He said they've actually been a pretty dominant team for 3 quarters, and then when it comes to that fourth quarter and they have a chance to win, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do? And that will come with maturity. That will come with experience for Justin Fields, just like it did, I'm sure, for Jalen Hurts. But, man, I only see the Eagles losing this game if they beat themselves. With the exception of Justin Fields being able to scramble and get first downs and extend drives and get into the red zone and create scoring opportunities for his team. Aside from that, because look, you can look at your defense, you can look at the Eagles defense and say, oh, the Eagles defense made a stop there. They could get out the field. Yeah, of course. But I mean, the other team gets paid too. So Justin Fields can hurt you. But I only think the way they actually lose this game, turnovers, penalties, and for whatever reason, this game becomes the snake in the grass. People like to call it a trap game. People like to call it the type of game that you are let down after. It's a letdown game. You're riding a high, you're let down, right? Sandwiched between 2 divisional opponents. The first one was a huge win, 48-22. You did a pretty good job there. Did anything you wanted in that game. It's a nothing game against the 3-10 Bears. Doesn't affect really much. The Eagles already have that extra game and the tiebreaker over the Minnesota Vikings right now. They already have it over the Cowboys, but they can give it back by losing next week. So all of that, it's true. Comes together, makes sense. I get it. I understand it. But people refer to it as a trap or letdown game. This is a snake in the grass game. This is a snake in the weeds. This is a snake in the tall hay. I don't know. This is a snake. At least it could be. It's a game where no one's looking at this game going, "Oh, Eagles are going to lose this game," with the exception of maybe Marshall Harris. But I don't look at this game saying that the Eagles are going to lose focus. I don't look at it as that. I just look at it as this could be a game where they get snake bit. They got snake bit, sure as all hell, against the Washington Commanders. This could be another game. And even before I thought about all the traps and all that stuff, I just thought about this game and how it's like, wow, this is kind of like a nothing game. Like, I can think that as someone who's looking at it from afar. The players obviously can't think like that, but it's like you just beat the Giants handily. Now you're going to Chicago, and it just feels like that game where you could just not have it. Traveling, going out there to Chicago, windy city, the whole thing. Weather's not supposed to be great. It's going to be cold. Is the air game going to be as great as it has been? Is the ground game going to be as great as it has been? All this stuff you could look at, and I'm thinking to myself, this might be a little bit of a tough one. But the more I think about it, the more I think about this team and the way they really hone in on their opponents, no matter who they are, I think this is going to be the type of game that the Eagles exert their dominance again. I think the Eagles end up winning this game by a score of 35-22. That's how I think they work this game out. 35-22. Eagles beat the Bears this weekend. So let's chalk that up. Let me tell you right now about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. Steven has the perfect price each and every day. Now, what's the perfect price? Well, while you're doing your holiday shopping, don't forget about Steven Singer. Oh, I got to stop in there at a jewelry store. I'll have to negotiate. I'll have to haggle. No. At Steven Singer, you walk in the door, you're already getting the best price, the perfect price, as a matter of fact. While the jewelers are marking things way up, just to mark it down a couple of $100 in front of you, Steven Singer is giving you the perfect price each and every day. So you don't have to worry about a holiday sale or a coupon or a promo code. You just go in, and a real jewelry expert will treat you like a real family member at Steven Singer Jewelers. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price each and every day. All night at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, let's jump on the Roth and Orthopedics guest line. Talk to our good friend Marshall Harris first about Joel Embiid's comments about being traded. Then we'll jump into Eagles Bears. Here's Marshall. And joining us right now on the Roth and Orthopedics guest line, our old friend, Mr. Marshall Harris, joins us. What's going on there, Marshall?
Not much, man. Just trying to, live the dream like Mark Farzetta, but some of us just aren't able,
It's like they said about Kramer on Seinfeld. You should plunk down $2,000 just to live like me for a week. That's a fantasy camp. Anyway,
that's a bad dream, but yes, fantasy camp is a thing.
Horrendous. Dream bigger, kids. Marshall, I just want to get this out of the way because I thought it was amazing. So we have Clay Harbor on yesterday, and he drops the name of your podcast because you're obviously out there at CBS Chicago. For those that don't know, first off, shame on you. Second, here's where you can follow Marshall on Twitter, of course, there at M Harris on Air.
Yeah.
So you have had wonderful names of podcasts in the past, most notably Measured Takes. Measured Takes was my favorite. I believe that was you and Amy Fadul, was it not?
Yes, it was. Our coworker Amy Fadul, yes.
And then you come out with Bare Minimum, and I'm like, now that's a Marshall Harris line, and that's a Marshall Harris title. And Clay's like, oh yeah, and I do that with Marshall Harris. And I'm like, what the hell? So here you are, my friend, coming on the show to talk a little Eagles Bears, and I got to talk a little Joel Embiid with you as well. I hope you don't mind.
That's okay. Everybody wants to talk Joel at some point, and Sixers. I mean, Joel said the Sixers fans want him traded, but I don't know if he was kidding or not. So I can't wait to get further context on those comments.
Okay, well, here they are for you, because I wanted to get this to you first, because we'll get to Eagles Bears in a second here. This is him with Jake Fisher at Yahoo Sports. He said, this was the context of the trade not working out with James Harden and Doc Rivers not doing his job and all that. So he says, I don't know, Embiid said, shrugging, Sixers fans, they want to trade me. And then Fisher says, you don't believe that, to which Embiid replies, I do believe that. They want me traded. I don't take it seriously either. I think Joel Embiid is the greatest troll ever to troll. What do you make of the comments?
As a guy who is also a professional troll, I admire Joel's ability to capture the minds, the hearts, and the emotions of millions out there. I think he's just saying, it's Philadelphia, man. Everybody, they want to trade you, Mark. You know, they wanted to trade me. I'm traded away. Depending on the day of the week, depending on what have you done for me lately. That's the nature of being in a city that is captivated by fandom. And the word fanatics, it starts with the root word of fan, and they are fanatical about their sports here in Philadelphia, which, as I always tell people, like, what's it like living in Philadelphia? Philly is a city that if you love it, it loves you back. And you know what? That's true unless you're a professional athlete representing the city. And if you don't win, they're not going to love you. Mm-hmm. As long as you give your hardest, they'll be okay with you. But eventually, you got to churn out a winner, or else you're going to end up like everybody else in Philadelphia sports history who was great, but not ultimately beloved because you did not win a championship. I mean, Allen Iverson is probably the best case of a guy who did not win a championship, but still to this day feels all the love. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like, what have you done for us, though? Allen Iverson, he didn't win a championship, but he did lay his body on the line game in, game out for the Philadelphia fans.
Every single day, amongst the trees, as Mark Zumoff would say, and hit the ground every single time. All right. So I got to be honest, and I'm sorry, I didn't know this ahead of time, but I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to catch up with you. I knew you did the podcast with Clay, and I wanted to just get your opinion on everything Bears-Eagles. So I'm reading some of your takes, and I'm scrolling through your Twitter, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. Far from measured, my friend. Far from measured. You think the Eagles could be heading to certain doom here in Chicago.
You know what? Doom is not the right word, okay? Here's the thing. Win or lose versus Chicago, the Eagles are going to the playoffs and they're going to have a run and they could win the Super Bowl, you know? But last time I checked, they're not the 72 Dolphins, right? They can lose a game, correct?
Or two, yes.
Or two. And that's kind of the point, you know. I talk to people all the time and I'm like, well, they think I'm crazy, right? Do you have to drug test in Chicago to get a job there? All the comments, I'm like, I'm sorry. Please raise your hand if you had before the game the Eagles losing to the Washington Commanders.
Right.
No one's raising their hands when I ask that question, by the way.
Nope.
And so what I need people to understand is this has all the makings of a game that the Eagles could lose. So I'm going to lay it out for you very simply, Mark. Classic trap game, just because it's between two division rivals, the Giants, and of course the game, the one against the team that's got Philadelphia and its fans all riled up, whether Micah Parsons is talking or not, because people are saying, oh, they have a better chance to win the Super Bowl than the Eagles. And the Eagles are like, excuse me, don't we already have a win in the ledger against the Cowboys? Aren't we 1-0 against the Cowboys? So let's just talk about Christmas Eve is what everyone is focused on. We can agree on that, correct, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, of course.
Okay, the Bears are 3-10, right? So it's easy to say that team's 3-10. We'll beat them going away, right? If you haven't watched the Bears this season, remember Justin Fields is Jalen Hurts last year, but better, okay? And here's what I mean by that. People at the beginning of last season questioned Jalen Hurts' ability, whether he's really a franchise quarterback, whether the Eagles really should have put, their future in him, correct? Is anyone asking that right now, Mark?
About Jalen Hurts? Absolutely not.
So you look at Justin Fields' stats, put them side by side with Jalen Hurts, you're like, okay, I see all the comparisons here. In fact, I'd argue Justin Fields has been a much more explosive player with his legs than Jalen Hurts, and he's got less help around him than even Jalen Hurts did last year before A.J. Brown was in existence, because he had, I believe, Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz for a portion of that season, and he had Devontae Smith, correct?
Absolutely.
Can you name a Bears receiver? And yet they've lost 10 games, 6 straight, 9 of their last 10. With Justin Fields having them in position to win the game in 7 of those 10 games. I want to be very clear on that. In the last 2 minutes, they had a chance to win 7 of those 10 games and simply just came up short. Here's why that's important. There's this thing. It's called the bye week. Do you remember what week the Eagles had their bye?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't. Off the top of my head.
You know why? Because it's been a while, right?
It's been a minute. Yes, sir.
The Bears didn't have their bye week until week 13, a.k.a. last week.
Mm-hmm.
What can the bye week do for a team?
Rest, rejuvenate.
It can. All that is true. The last 2 games, the Bears have gone out there without 2 of their starting defensive backs who are now back and good and out of concussion protocol. Rookie defensive backs, Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. I don't know if you're familiar. When you get to be this deep in the season, they don't look at your rookies really as being rookies anymore, more like early sophomores, because they've got now NFL playing experience. They know what it's like. That's what the Bears have on what's been an overly porous defense. They've gotten rid of a couple of pieces, and people were like, but they got rid of some of their best players. You tell me, is Robert Quinn one of their best players?
Robert Quinn for the Eagles? No, he's on IR.
Okay, and what did he do before he was on IR for the Eagles?
I believe he did nothing. He did nothing.
Okay. Roquan Smith is gone. They've plugged in this guy who you'll hear his name a lot. His name is Jack Sanborn, an undrafted free agent linebacker. You've seen guys who weren't top draft picks go on to have great careers as middle linebackers, correct? What's the guy who runs your defense's name in the middle?
That'd be TJ Edwards.
Oh, okay. Tell me about his where he was drafted.
It was not very high. I don't believe he was drafted.
That is my point. You start adding up all these factors, start adding up the fact that the Bears, they score points. No one's been able to stop Justin Fields and his team from scoring points. I understand the Bears very well balanced, the highest scoring offense in all the land. They have a top 5 defense. I just think the conditions are going to be perfect where the Bears, coming off that bye week, are going to feel like, okay, we're older, we're mature, we're more wise. You might think after a 6-game losing streak, they're not as hungry. But here's the thing. It's a bunch of young guys trying to get out tape. Do you remember those Sixers teams from back in the day? They had a nickname, the same as your superstar MVP candidate.
But the process?
The process Sixers. That's what they were called. They had guys who would go out there, play hard, not good enough to win games, mind you. They went 10-72. I know about that team personally up front and personal as a guy who hosted pre-game and post-game shows for those Sixers. Those guys didn't stop playing hard. They just weren't good enough. The Bears actually have some guys who are good enough, and they're still playing hard. Now, their front four, still not very good. But they can do enough, as they have the past 7 out of 10 losses, to keep them close and within striking distance. The question will be, Justin Fields, can he make something happen late? That's all I'm saying. Okay. I'm not saying that they're a slam dunk to win this game. I'm just putting the Bears and the Eagles fans on upset alert, upset alert coming off the bye.
All right, a follow-up question, Marshall. Why now do you hate Philadelphia? I know, I'm kidding.
I love Philadelphia. Philadelphia is my favorite city I've ever lived in. I'm just saying, would it be the worst thing if the Bears got beat by the Eagles got beat by the Bears? It wouldn't be the worst thing. It'd be like, another wake-up call. The Commanders game was a wake-up call, correct?
Absolutely. That's what we all labeled it, to make ourselves sleep at night. Absolutely.
Okay, so you still got a chance to do whatever it is you want to do this season.
Well, here's where I'm right on the same page with you, and this is how I believe the game's going to play out. I do have a little bit more confidence that the Eagles are going to win this game, and you're saying that you wouldn't be shocked if the Bears had come away with the victory. Here's why I, too, would not be shocked, and it comes down to something very simple. When you talk about that Commanders game, what did the Commanders do in that game? They ran the ball, and they kept drives going. And that's something that Justin Fields can certainly do, especially on third down. And what I've already told my audience is this. When you get to 3rd and 6, when you get to 3rd and 7, I just have this feeling we're going to be smacking the bar or smacking our desks if you're working while you're covering the game. And you're watching it and it's all unfolding. It's at 3rd and 7. Bang, Justin Fields run for a first down. Dang it. And you're going to be smacking the desk or smacking the bar or smacking your couch in frustration of Justin Fields extending another drive. And that, I think, is the way the Bears, if they do in fact pull this off, that's how I think they pull it off.
I also want to remind people that that may not have seen Justin Fields and be like, oh, he's just like Jalen Hurts. He's actually a much more explosive player in terms of his legs than Jalen Hurts. Here's the problem with Justin Fields. 3 or 4 weeks ago, he said, oh, man, my legs, they're dead. They're tired. And he just basically I can't be running as much. And he would still rip off a 50-yard plus touchdown run the following week. Now he's actually had time for his legs to heal and get better. So as long as he's healthy, because he was sick and missed the first day of practice, as long as he's over his illness, look for him to have fresh legs. And that is scary. And his fresh legs are a different type of I don't just take off at first glance. He's still going to sit back in the pocket, look to dance around, make some things happen. And what happens when he does that is they're very much aware that he can use his legs. And so he'll do that for 5 seconds or 6 seconds. Next thing you know, he's throwing a ball down the field and somebody's just wide open because their man left them. That's what happens with Justin Fields back there.
All right. No, so one of the reasons I do think the Eagles are going to win this game, and it's not going to be close. It might be frustrating at times, but I think the Eagles are going to win by more than a touchdown and a half there. But right now, I look at this game and I say the sack difference is going to be a huge difference in this game because Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, I know Justin Fields is one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. Well, not that far behind him is Jalen Hurts. The only difference is the Eagles are one of the best. The Eagles, as a matter of fact, lead the league in sacks Bears don't get to the quarterback. So that could be a huge discrepancy in this game. Do you think that'll be a key factor in this game?
It'll be a huge factor in this game. I think it's going to come down to really the turnover margin. If people are like, well, Jalen Hurts, he doesn't throw interceptions. He's got the best interception percentage in all the league. I just say he's due. Okay. Look, Matt Eberflus, defensive-minded head coach. He's got his thing, the hits principle. He's just trying to create havoc, cause turnovers. I told you the front four is not good for the Bears. Like, however you want to rotate those guys in, they are not good. But I do think, they could call up some blitzes. They could do some different things to try to stop them. And I think, like you said before, the most important thing is if they can shorten the number of possessions that both teams have by running the football, the Bears as a team lead the NFL in rushing, and it's a bullet. So I think that's can you run the ball or can you not? And I think they will be able to run the football. It's just a matter of, can you get some stops? They're not going to stop the Eagles from scoring, but can you get some stops?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, the big thing in the Commanders game as well was turnovers, and sometimes you just can't predict those. Do you have an official prediction out there? Do you have a score? Do you have a final for this game?
I haven't put a number out there, but I can whip something up for you and your audience real quick if you would like.
Please step in the kitchen by all means. Yes,
I'm gonna say 31-30 Bears.
I knew it. I knew that was coming. And then last question for you here: what is a Christmas song? What is a holiday song that you honestly cannot get sick of hearing?
That I honestly cannot get sick of hearing.
People always say, they're on my nerves by this point. The Christmas comment, all that stuff. Is there a song that you just can't get sick of hearing? When you walk in a store or you go wherever and the song's on, you're like, like that song again. Nice. Is there a song that jumps out to you as one you can't stop hearing?
It's probably... Well, there's two songs. Traditionally wise, I'm going to go with This Christmas. This Christmas, caroling through the night. Yeah, I'm a terrible singer.
No, that's beautiful.
But my alternative song, which is probably the real answer, if you will, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, is performed by DMX. You've heard it, correct?
I have not heard. I have not heard DMX, and I'm a DMX fan.
I need you to go to YouTube immediately.
I will go and I will watch it right at the end of this interview, and I will be playing it for myself while I react to your interview on my show live.
Listen to me. That's what it will give you fresh and new life.
Rudolph by DMX.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh yeah.
DMX version. You must listen to the.
I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna send it to my buddy Dave.
R.I.P. By the way.
Oh, totally R.I.P. And in the meantime, also I'm gonna send it to my buddy Dave, who when we were studying in suburbia for our exams in 8th grade, we were rocking out DMX as a couple of 12 and 13-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that
all his listening is appropriate for 12 and 13-year-olds, but you know what? Do you? The Burbs is different. Y'all operate on a different scale.
Well, in the Burbs, your parents are in a different wing of the house as you're studying in the basement.
That's fair. They don't necessarily hear what you're listening to. I got you. Didn't have such issues.
Marshall, always great catching up with you, man. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys check out the Bare Minimum podcast with Clay Harbor and Marshall Harris, both friends of the show right there. Marshall, thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying Chi-Town, my friend.
Thanks, Mark, for having me.
Absolutely. Marshall Harris joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Always good talking to our dear friend Marshall Harris. By the way, I did compare the stats to Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields. I just will say that in this year with Justin Fields and last year with Jalen Hurts. Now, for the people on the podcast, you're going to miss out on my amazing graphic making ability. I use a really special software called Microsoft Paints. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the... Can I even call them side by side? I don't think I can. Top to bottom. Justin Fields on top here and Jalen Hurts down there at the bottom. Here is what we got. Jalen Hurts this year versus Justin Fields. Jalen Hurts last year, so his first season as a starter, with Justin Fields this year. Here's where we're at. Their completion percentage, nearly the same. 61.7 for Fields this year, 61.3 last year with Jalen Hurts. Average yards per attempt, 7.5 this year for Fields, 7.3 last year for Hurts. Passer rating, 87.2 last year for Hurts. For Fields this year, 85.3. Difference of 2 points there. Everything else is with the same the percentage point. So, yeah, they are pretty similar. I will hold for applause while you guys look at my amazing graphic making ability. PJ, I know you're amazed by that. You're welcome. Let me tell you right now about the great people of Manscaped. And DMX. I did. I'm sorry. After I talked to our man, Marshall Harris, last night, I did go right on the old computer. I did go to YouTube, and I did pull up DMX. I think I have, first off, amazing. Second, I think I have heard that song before, but I think up until yesterday, I always thought it was a parody. I always thought it was an impersonator of DMX. Rocking out Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. One, because it was just so DMX, it was like over-the-top DMX. And as Dana Carvey always says about his impressions, he goes, eventually, when you do an impression of somebody, that person becomes your impression, which I thought was interesting. So I thought somebody was doing DMX there, and it was funny. The other, again, it was so over the top. And then I was like, why would DMX do Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Why would DMX do Rudolph the Red-Nosed? Why would it happen? And then I realized, because it needed to happen. That's why. And it's a true story. Me and my buddy Dave Candia, who I grew up with, we would tell our parents. Dave was really good at school. I was not. And and he lived across the street. So it was, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm going to go over to Dave's house and study. Study. Yeah, that's the ticket. Study for exams. And it was usually like a half hour of studying and then like an hour and a half of, hey, man, you hear this DMX guy? And I'm like, no, what's that? Who's the DMX guy? And then play, oh, man. Wow. So I'm going to tell you right now, 12-year-old, 13-year-old Mark, man, he was bumping to some DMX. Just to let you know, that's a true story. I know it's a difficult picture to draw up in your brain, but that is true. That is a true statement. Now let me tell you about the great people of Manscaped and Manscaped.com. Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Now you can trust them with the whole shebang with their amazing Platinum Package 4.0. Now, what's the Platinum Package 4.0? It includes the whole shebang. The whole shebang, ladies and gentlemen. It includes their 4.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, their lawnmower ear and nose hair trimmer, that is. And it all comes with skin-safe technology that reduces the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. It also includes the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and it's the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. There. You think after doing this for so long, I didn't have it down. I don't yet. But it's all right there at manscaped.com, where you can get 20% off and free shipping with promo code FARZI. Holiday season, promo code FARZI at manscaped.com. Give the gift of a well-kept man. Yeah. All there at manscaped.com. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. If you use CBD, if you want to switch it up a little bit, maybe you're not happy with your CBD. Maybe it's not doing it for you anymore. Freestone Farm CBD is the way to go. Plus, you can use promo code FARZI for 20% off your order. You'll love their strain menu. It includes the tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So please, by all means, enjoy Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Use promo code FARZI for 20% off. How about the Mojo app? Download the Mojo app to your phone right now. Available in New Jersey. You can trade players as if they're stocks. Their stocks rise and fall throughout the season and off season, so there's no off season with Mojo. Must be in New Jersey to trade on Mojo. Each player, over 300 skilled players in the NFL, from quarterbacks to running backs to tight ends to wide receivers. Mojo has it all. Think a rookie is about to break out? Mojo. You think a veteran is finally coming off the IR and they're going to make things happen? Right there. Maybe Dallas Goedert. Buy low, sell high on the Mojo app. Go to mojo.com for more information. Find out how you can win $10,000 in share prices attached to players. at mojo.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get to the chat check today, ladies and gentlemen. See how you beautiful people are doing on this fine Friday morning. Melly. Good morning, Melly. April. Eric Gallagher. Good morning, Eric Gallagher. Kevin. Good morning on this football Friday. April. Uneducated guess. The name of the Duck Rivers biography. Well played, April. Talking to some of you guys during our Wednesday party before Thanksgiving, I know a drop board came up during, I think, a T-Bro brought out drops. You got to have drops on the show. Need drops. And I agree. I got to get a mixer or something to be able to push buttons and put drops in here. But, man, I'm telling you right now, if I had one, the Duck Rivers, that's just an uneducated guess. Oh, man. Boom, boom, boom. Hitting that, smashing that drop. No doubt. Random Anton. Hey, guys. Hey, you guys. I got you, Random Anton. Very nice. Mally, I'm curious, does Duck have to get touch-ups on his hair tattoo so it won't be faded? Mally, possibly. Random, talk is cheap and rent is due. Ooh, Dan Schwartz, Eagles 30, Bears 20. I like that score. Dan Schwartz. Telephone line. Give me some time. I'm living in Twilight. Sorry, Billy Madison on the TV this morning. Steve Buscemi's part is great. He's a hero and a psycho. Man, I'm glad I called that guy. What the heck is his name? Is it Steve? No, it's not Steve Downey. Jim Downey? Jim Downey jumps out. I think it's Jim Downey. The writer on SNL who gave the speech at the end of Billy Madison. I believe he went to Harvard. And the guy that's like, I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul. And no point in your endless rambling was there any semblance of an answer, something like that. Whenever he says that whole speech, right? That's I want to say his name is Jim Mooney or Jim Downey. He was a head writer on Saturday Night Live, went to Harvard, and he told this story with the Dana Carvey and David Spade podcast, Fly on a Wall, where he went back to Harvard for something, and he said, this complete knockout, beautiful red dress, Veronica Vaughn. All right, comes walking up to him at a Harvard reunion. And she puts her arms out of nowhere. Just woman she doesn't know. He doesn't know. She puts her arms around him and whispers into his ear every syllable of that speech. And when she got to the point of, and may God have mercy on your soul, she backed away and turned around to a group of guys, and they're all losing it, laughing their asses off. It was Jim Downey's friend's daughter that they put up to pulling this prank on Jim Downey. And he was just stood there like, so what the hell? And the guys were just roaring with laughter. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't have expected that either. I would not have expected that. What do we have here? Pedro had something good. Bold prediction, Hurts throws for over 400 yards and has 2 receivers over 100. Pedro, I'm with you. Dan Schwartz. All right, I was talking about snake in the grass, snake in the weeds. I do believe I stretched it to snake in the hay, which isn't the thing. Dan Schwartz, snakes on a plane. What did you say that? Get these MFers, get these MFing snakes off my MFing plane. I saw that movie in the theater because how can you not? And it was just as craptacular as you would assume. I actually had, Paul Keene. I actually had them losing to the Commanders. Paul, how keen of you. Paul Keene just had that feeling that week. Okay. Thing is, even last year, Eagles had a culture that never gave up on the game. This year, we have the same culture with better players. Fair point, Random Anton. Paul Keene, be close this week. Fourth quarter will close it up, but I think 33-21. Paul Keene, so are you predicting the Eagles to win, or are you predicting the Bears to lose? Or, sorry, are you predicting the Eagles win or the Eagles loss? 33-21, who? Random outside. People question Hurts People question Hurts when he ran last year. When Fields runs, it's amazing. Maybe. Charles Atterley. Hello, Charles Atterley. Good morning from paradise in Nassau, the Bahamas. Charles, you work for like the Nassau Bahamas Tourism Board? Because you're making me really want to go to the Bahamas, man. Never been to the Bahamas. The only island I've really been to down, I guess, in that area is Puerto Rico. It's the only been to Manhattan. Oh, I've been to Capri or Capri, right? In good old Italia. But yeah, I have not been to the Bahamas. That is an island, right? Anyway. April on Marshall. Man, he's really drinking the Kool-Aid out there. True Savage lives up to his name. The Bears are terrible. Random Anton, a lot to think of theories when your team is old. Lots of time to think of theories when your team's only won 3 games. True. Paul, Bears suck. I agree. Mihai, what's up, Mihai? Morning Mark and everyone. I say the Eagles win 38-24. Jalen Hurts with 4 touchdowns, 250 passing yards. Fly, Eagles, fly. All right. April, he is tripping. I love that term, tripping. The DMX version is amazing. Marshall was talking spicy on Jacob. Oh, Keith. And that's one of the things I caught. Holy Lord. Blue City Empire Sports. You know, I give you credit for showing up this week. I give you credit. I know you're only showing up on Friday, but after that beating the Giants took, I give you a lot of credit for at least coming on this week. Yes, the Yankees got Carlos Rodon. Good for you guys. Of course, I wanted him here in Philly. It would have been a nice lefty to throw into this rotation along with Suarez, but can't have them all, I guess. Unless you're the Yankees. So congratulations to you guys on that. Farzi show with Seahawks losing last night, 49ers. This helped the New York Giants still have a chance to be in a playoff in the 2022. Yes, it absolutely did. Wow, that's awesome, April. So your kid regularly asked to listen to your 90s rap playlist. You know, rap was like fun in the late 80s and through the 90s. I want to say rap was fun. I don't think rap is fun anymore. Like there was like a smile to, like, I still enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think hip hop sucks by any means. I enjoy it, but there was something fun about it. It's gotten a little angrier. I guess you couldn't be in the same decade as MC Hammer and not look at what you're doing and go, all right, let's just have some fun with this because people aren't taking it that. I mean, look at this guy. Anyway. Look, you don't hear this from a Giants fan. Blue City Empire Stewart. Hey, I'm a Giants fan, but that does not mean the Eagles were the better team. Even if my New York Giants win or lose, I still wear my New York Giants gear with pride. Well, good for you. You're a good fan. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. I've given you my prediction. Eagles win this game 35-20 over the Chicago Bears. There will be points in this game where it's close, and it'll be close for a while before the Eagles pull away in the second half. The reason it'll be close is because Justin Fields is going to extend drives, and that is going to drive me bonkers. I don't know what his over-under is in rushing yards, but I told you guys the other day, Jody McDonald threw out me his average, which is about 75 yards per game. I think he goes over in this game because I think it's the only way that they are going to gain yards offensively. So I got the Eagles winning this one 35-20 over the Chicago Bears. That's what I have for you right there. Sixers back at it tonight against the Warriors, 7:30 in South Philadelphia. No Steph Curry in that game. He's going to miss a couple of weeks, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. So we'll see when he can get back, but it won't be tonight against the Warriors. The Flyers, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the Philadelphia Flyers I mentioned last night? Or I mentioned that they won last night earlier in the show. So people say I don't talk Flyers. Whatever. Flyers won last night, so that's exciting. The Flyers will go. It was 2-1 over the Jersey Devils. The Flyers will go for their first back-to-back wins tomorrow night at 7 o'clock when they host the Rangers. It'll be their first back-to-back wins since November 5th and November 8th. What? Yeah, people. You heard me. Flyers got their 10th win of the season, by the way, last night, so that is exciting. And let's not forget about Carter Hart, 48 saves on 49 shots. So good for him. Flyers back at it tomorrow night. Sixers tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show. Hey, if you want more of me and you're in the local market, so sorry, Charles Adderley, I'll be on Fox 29 with Alex Holly and Mike Jarek and Eitan Shander, as a matter of fact. They apparently really like us bald bastards, so they've started a new segment called, ready for it? Footballed. Huh? Get it? Because we're bald and we're talking about football. All right, that's the show. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Go Birds, of course. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a phenomenal job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. The Farzy Show is presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See ya.